Hi guys! So I decided to make this storytime video because I think it's pretty entertaining. I'm filming this in the car because I was just running errands and I have to wait on something, so I had a little bit of extra time and I figured why not make a video, because I seem to never have time where either I'm awake, that's a big thing because my sleep schedule is awful, or during daylight where there's natural lighting instead of the orange yellow lighting of a lamp if I were to film in the middle of the night when I'm awake. This video is going to be about my worst first date, and possibly one of the worst first dates in history. Well, I mean, I'm probably being dramatic, but that's who I am. I'm dramatic. I don't even know if you would call this a date because he didn't really specify that it was a date. It was just kind of like we were hanging out. Hopefully he doesn't see this because that would be incredibly embarrassing, and I don't want to like make him feel bad or anything because it wasn't really his fault. It was just like a mess all around. Now that I've talked for 2 minutes and haven't even started the story yet, I will get started. This guy, he and I went to middle school together, and we were never friends, but his grandparents live next door to me, so occasionally he would visit his grandparents and I would see him like outside in the yard and I would have casual conversation with him. It's like acquaintance type stuff where we don't really talk about anything that matters. It's just like, oh hey, how are you? How's it going? Stuff like that. I didn't really know him, but I knew of him, and we were friends on Facebook, so he kind of knew like about me a little bit. He never really posted much, so I still didn't know much about him. This was like a year ago, I think. So we'd been out of high school for about a year, I would say. He would message me out of the blue sometimes and be like, hey, how are you? Once again, casual conversation. One day I posted something and he commented on it and I commented back and he commented back. And then he messaged me and he was like, hey, I'd love to go on a walk with you, because he was staying with his grandparents who lived next door. He said, maybe we could go on a walk or something. And I said, well, yeah, maybe we could take one of my dogs for a walk. Because I'm always a lot more comfortable when there's an animal involved, just because that kind of can diffuse any like awkward situations. You can just talk about the animal. So we set a time. And he came over and he knocked on my front door at that time. I think it was like the next day. And I was like, you can come in, because I still had to get the leashes on the dog. He came in, sat down, chatting with my mom, and then we left with the dog, our like bigger dog, because the little dogs aren't really good on a leash. They kind of pull and choke themselves, even though we have harnesses for them, but that's not the point. Anyways, we started down. So my old neighborhood, if you go down like the street, you can turn and there's like a walking trail, but it's pavement, very short. It's a mile or less, if that. We started down that trail talking about what's been going on in his life the past couple of years. Because like I said, we'd been out of high school for like a year, but I was homeschooled during all of high school, so kind of catching up, I guess. There were kind of times where I was like, this is kind of weird, stuff that he was talking about, but I didn't want to be rude because obviously I can be kind of weird at times. It wasn't like too awkward. But then we started getting towards my house and it had only been like 20 minutes or so, but he didn't seem like he wanted to go back to his grandparents' house. So I was like, okay, well, you can come in, we can keep talking if you want. You can come into my house and we can sit down and talk and whatever. So he was like, okay. So he came in and my mom was sitting there with us. I didn't think he would stay that long, so after a while it got like really awkward. There was nothing else for us to talk about because I could tell that I wasn't interested in him after the walk, but like I said, I didn't want to be rude. We kept talking, but then I was like, okay, he should probably leave now. And I kept not continuing the conversation on purpose because I didn't want to keep talking. But he didn't really catch those hints, and he just kind of sat there. Even when it was really awkward and quiet, he didn't say, oh, I should be getting home or whatever. He just sat there. My mom was trying to chat with him, diffuse the awkwardness. The bad thing was that it was my house, so like I couldn't just say, oh, I have to be getting home. I had to figure out a way to like get him to leave without saying, can you please leave my house? because he wasn't doing anything wrong. It was just awkward, and I didn't feel interested in him, and I wasn't interested in the conversation anymore. Sorry about that. So I went into the bathroom and I texted my mom from the bathroom, even though she was sitting out there with him, and I was like, can you ask him to leave? Because I didn't want to ask him to leave, and I felt bad, but I didn't want him to stay because it was so weird and awkward. Also, I should mention, every few minutes he would get text, and he kept saying it was his grandmother and saying that she wanted him to come home. He told me that one of the texts said that she didn't want him over here, and then he would say stuff like, but I don't care. And I was just like, okay. It was weird. After I texted my mom, I said, can you tell him that we need to go to the store or whatever, because we did need to go to the store, but we weren't going to go till later. But I said, can we go now, so that he has an excuse to leave. So sorry, I'm talking faster because I have to go, but anyway, she was like, okay, and she said that we needed to leave, so he left, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was really awkward, thank you. And so then we left to go to the store, and we saw him standing in his driveway, his grandparents' driveway, because he was staying with them, and I was like, that's kind of weird, he was standing there. And then we got back from the store, and he had all of his stuff in the driveway, and we pulled up, and we were like, what's going on? And he said,
my grandparents kicked me out for being over there. They didn't want me to go over there. Whenever I tell them I'm going somewhere, they think I'm going to smoke weed with my friends, and they don't trust me. Part of the rule of me staying here is that I can't hang out with anybody or go see anybody, but I figured it would be fine since you're next door and they know you, because we were friendly with our neighbors.
I was like, oh my gosh, you got kicked out of your house for hanging out with me, and it didn't even go well on my end. I'm sure he thought it went fine, but I felt bad because I was like, this isn't gonna go anywhere, and he got kicked out of his house for it. So I was like, okay, well, is there anything we can do? Or can we take you somewhere? Do you need help? Or we didn't know what to do, and he was like, well, I texted my friend and he said I can go stay with him or whatever. So he loaded his stuff into the back of my car, and I drove him to his friend's house. This was at 10-11 p.m. too. It was dark, and we didn't know where we were going, and he had to direct us. And then on the way there, he was in the back seat, my mom was in the passenger seat, started crying, and he was like, why is my life so shitty? Unloading all of his problems. I didn't know what to do because he was crying and saying all this stuff. We weren't even close. We weren't friends at all. And I don't mean this in a bad way. It's just we weren't close. Oh my gosh, why is he telling me all of this? And I just kind of tried to be supportive and be like, I don't know, I'm sorry. And so he got to his friend's house, and my mom helped him unload his stuff, and we dropped him off and said bye, and I was like, I hope everything goes well for you. And
he was like, thanks, I'm probably gonna get high, and because I can't help it, because my friend is gonna probably get high, and I know it's not good for me, but I'm gonna get high anyway because I can't help it, because I'm gonna be in this situation. And I'm just like, okay, why are you telling me this?
So then we left, and also one of the things he told me on the way to his friend's house was that he had spent time in Mexico, and there was this guy who wanted him to marry his daughter, and in exchange for him living there. And he was like,
I should probably just do that, I don't love her, but he's a nice guy and she's a nice girl. And I was like, okay, I hope that goes well for you.
And so then after all of this, I didn't pay much attention to it. I was just kind of like, wow, that was a really weird situation. Not at all how I thought a date was supposed to go. And then a month later, I see on Facebook that he's married to this girl, and he moved back to Mexico. What? So yeah, that's the story of my worst first date. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe for more Storytime videos if you like them. I can make more. I have plenty of interesting, weird, crazy stories. I'm also going to make a tattoos and piercings video. I tried to film it the other day, but like I said, my sleep schedule is awful, so I fell asleep, and then it wasn't light outside anymore. Go me! So I will try to film that as soon as possible if you guys are interested. And that's about it. So like I said, give this video a like and subscribe, and be sure to follow me on social media. They will all be linked below. And comment what your worst first date was and why. And we can all just bask in the awfulness that is our lives. Yay, fun times. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! You know what, I'm just gonna start over. Let's just start over. Yeah. What's the word?
If you're ever... Okay, so...
Okay, this is not working at all. Hang on a second.
Kind of maybe blocked him on Facebook and Instagram. So, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like nothing bad happened. It was just like really, really awkward, and I didn't really feel like talking to him ever again. And I didn't want him to be able to like see what was going on in my life. Yeah. Does that make me a bad person? Maybe.